All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the next rendition of Aether Drift Draft. We're going from Bronze to Mythic. We're currently in Platinum, and I've got a new background today. We're at our hotel room in Las Vegas. I'm having a great time eating lots of great food, but now I'm here to draft with you, and so this will be our background for the next little bit. I will see you guys once the draft has started. All right, here we are for our pack one, pick one of our first draft in Las Vegas. And it appears our gambling is going well. Our pack one, pick one mythical rare is a Thunderous Velocipede. This card is absurd. It's 2 green and 1 for an artifact vehicle with trample. It's a 5/5, and each other vehicle or creature enters with an additional counter if its mana value is 4 or less. Otherwise, it enters with 3+1/+1 counters. This card is crazy. I don't think there's anything that there's a couple cards in the set that I would take over this, but not below rare. There is another rare in this pack, however. It is Repurposing Bay, completely unplayable and limited. There's 2 other great green cards. There's Ketron and Mammoth. We've discussed several times being happy with both of those, and a Spike Shell Harrier also being a pretty good card. And so I'm going to go ahead and take our Thunderous Velocipede and go on our merry way. Okay, this pack is Whir of Invention, 3 blue X. Improvise, which lets your artifacts tap to pay for 1. Search your library for an artifact card, mana value X rolls, put it on the battlefield. I think it's a little too expensive for limited. Green cards, Greenbelt Guardian, Plow Through, both great. I think Greenbelt Guardian is a phenomenal card. It's one of the higher uncommons that we had, and I think Plow Through is of the more mediocre removal spells. It is a fight spell, and so you need creatures bigger, and then it can get interrupted by removal and blah blah blah. And so I do think I'm going to go ahead and just take this Greenbelt Guardian and be pretty happy about it and move on to our next pack. All right, Greenbelt Guardian has an exhaust ability on it, a pretty good one. It puts 3+1/+1 counters, and one of the best things you can be doing in green is playing exhaust. And so I do think that I'm going to be taking this Ranger's Refueler. I was going to try to discuss what other cards in the pack might be useful, but to be honest, this pack's pretty underwhelming. I guess there's this Ironclad, but I don't really think that's where you want to be. And I have played some fun point the way decks, but I don't think we're starting them that early. So I'm going to go ahead and take this Refueler. All right. So this pack does have Necro Regent, but I think I'm pretty happy with our green-blue cards, and there's plenty of good blue cards in this pack. There's a Diversion Unit, a Gearseeker Serpent, a Keen Buccaneer, and a Holdrifter. I think I'm going to take the Keen Buccaneer. I do like Diversion Unit as a card, but I think it's a little bit better in the artifact shells. And now that we already have Ranger's Refueler in this Greenbelt Guardian, I think we're really doing pretty well in this Exhaust archetype, and Keen Buccaneer is a card I value pretty highly there. I did miss something in this pack. There is this Venom Sack-Lagac, which makes the conversation possibly a little bit more difficult. Venom Sack-Lagac is a great 2-drop. Whenever it's saddled, it gets +0/+3, and it has Death Touch. I think I actually am going to take this Lagac. It does also take the green cards out of the pack, so hopefully it pushes the people in our left a little less into green, and hopefully lets us take some of the great cards. All right, prior to seeing this Pit Automaton in the pack, I was going to say that I was highly considering this Boom Scholar, given that we already have a good amount of exhaust effects, and maybe we would just try to find some fixing for it. That being said, just like making things cost 2 less, Pit Automaton does pretty much the same thing. It also can make exhaust abilities activate twice. Pit Automaton is a phenomenal card in these exhaust decks, and so I do think I'm just going to go take it. It being an 0/4 blocker is also just great, and wow, pick 6, there's still a Ketrodon in the pack. I am pretty happy about our lane. We have mostly green cards, which I think is exactly where you want it to be. If this Ketrodon wasn't in this pack, I'd probably be taking this Rugged Highlands. Green-blue are typically the primary exhaust colors, but like you saw with the Boom Scholar, the other color that exhaust touches is red, and so sometimes it's nice to pick up the fixing early for it, but Ketrodon is too high value of a pick. Okay. So this pack has a Howler's Heavy, a Broken Wings, and a Dismal Backwater. I don't love playing Broken Wings in the main deck. I do think it's better in this format than it has been in formats past, but I think I'd rather take this Howler's Heavy. I could also consider taking this Dismal Backwater to possibly, look at splashing something in black, but I've mentioned being part of the Church of Howler's Heavy. I really like that card. Okay, now even though there's a Howler's Heavy in this pack, we had Thunderhead Gunner as our third highest rated common of the set, behind Ketradon and Hazard of the Dunes, which are just, you know, it's not that those cards are better effect-wise, it's just that they're green, and green is a color you'd be happier to be in. And so I think I'm going to go ahead and take the Thunderhead Gunner. You know, if we end up splashing red, I'm pretty happy to play it, and all of the other cards I think are pretty replaceable. In this pack, I think I'm going to take Bounce Off. Trip Up is, I think, a little underwhelming and a little slow for this format. That being said, I don't think I'm going to play more than one Bounce Off. I do think I'm going to take this Aether Jacket. I could speculate on the Haunted Hell Ride, but I think it's not as good outside of its primary colors. I'm probably not playing any of these cards. I'll put the Ironclad in the spot over there. Black, red. I don't think we're splashing both of those colors, but I also, I think we can make use of this Gear Seeker Serpent if we wanted to. Hull Drifter was probably a better pick, but I didn't spend enough time thinking about it. All right, this pack also looks great for us. There's a Vinwixt, there's an Aether Siphon, there's a Molt Tender, there's a Sky Serpent Seeker, a Night Market, a Ketradon, a Mangler. This pack is loaded. I love Vinwixt, but I don't think green-blue is the place where Vinwixt really shines. It does require you to be able to, you know, kind of advance your engines, which the green-blue decks are better at winning over time. I do love Aether Siphon. These two cards are pretty great together. I'm leaning Sky Serpent Seeker. It just feels so wrong to pass these cards, but I think Sky Serpent Seeker is a little bit more powerful of a card. You know, we have this Ranger's Refueler. It helps us get some lands. It flies. It's a 2-drop. There's lots of great things about it. I do also like Ketradon. We do already have one, and so I'm not super in a rush to take the second. So I think I'm going to take that Serpent. All right, this pack has Transit Mage, Outpace Oblivion, another Howler's Heavy. There's the generic 3/2, Ridezen, and a Beast Rider. I think if we're splashing, it's probably red. But I really like taking these like speculative Transit Mages to possibly get, you know, some good artifacts down the line. I think I'm going to do that. It feels so wrong to not take the Outpace Oblivion. And green-blue kind of does struggle a little with fixing. I do think I'm going to take the Outpace Oblivion. I think Transit Mage might be a little cute. I think if we get the fixing, our deck will be really strong without it. All right, this pack has another Aether Siphon. It also has a Bestow Greatness. I love this card. Hull Drifter Stallout and a Loxodon Surveyor. I think I'm going to take the Aether Siphon. I love this card. 2-mana draw a card is really great in formats that go long with lots of board stalls, and I value that card pretty highly. All right, this pack is Crypt Caller Trader. This card's not bad. Whenever you discard one or more cards, create that many tapped 2/2s, but it is kind of a build around in the wrong colors, because blue and red is kind of the discard of our colors. I'm doing great today. Red-White Fixer does not help us. There is a Haunt the Network. We're not in the deck for it. Another Serpent. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this Crash and Burn. I am happy to pick up some removal. We'll just need to find a way to play our red. Wow. Another Refueler. There is also a Ketradon, but Refueler is great, and it's definitely great in multiples. I'm super happy to have another copy of this card. So we'll go ahead and take that. Okay, this pack has a couple good options. It is Beast Rider Vanguard and Lagak. I think I'm going to take the Beast Rider Vanguard. A lot of these games go long. We do already have a lot to do with our mana, but we have Pit Automaton to kind of help. Actually, I think I'm going to take the Lagak. We already have, I'm talking myself out of it. We already have so much to do with our mana, and I think Lagak with the Death Touch just really helps get into the position where, you know, aggressive decks have slowed down, which I think our deck is looking like that's where it wants to be. Okay, this pack has a Sideswipe, a Lightning Strike, and an Ooze Patrol. I do like Ooze Patrol, and it sometimes is just big. This is not really the ideal deck for Ooze Patrol, but I think we have enough red fixing that I don't super care about having this Lightning Strike. So I'm going to take the Ooze Patrol, especially because if we don't find the fixing, I do think we're going to need to play some of our red cards. I think I'm going to take the Spike Shell Harrier. There's a Nimblethopterus and a Scrap Compactor. We know I like Scrap Compactor, but Spike Shell Harrier is just a great card. You know, it's a 4/4. It sets them back in tempo. It does also give us some incentive in the future to possibly take a transit mage, which I like. Okay. I do a lot of the time like taking a camera launcher for these exhaust decks, but I like Howler's Heavy a little bit too much for that. I'm going to take this Hole Drifter, not anticipating playing it, and then let's look at our curve a little. It doesn't look too bad. We have a good amount of 2-drops. It is important to remember that Ranger's Refueler is not a creature when you play it on 2. We haven't seen any fixing. Ooh, Afterburner Expert. Well, this is a great card. In Exhaust, when it goes to the graveyard, anytime you activate an Exhaust ability, you can return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. I don't think that there's anything else in our, blue-green Exhaust deck that we'd be happy to have. Sabsunin, that card's broken. Thoughtcast, kind of cool. And then there is a Velo Heartbike and a Thornwood Fall, so hopefully we can wheel some sort of fixing to possibly play some of our red removal. If we can find removal outside of red, I don't feel terrible cutting the red. The problem is that right now we have literally no removal if we don't play the red, which is normal. These colors just don't, removal is not their strong suit, green and blue. So it appears I took my pick too fast. Normally I talk about the pack a little longer. Oh, Mu Yanling Wind Rider. When this creature enters, you get a 3/2 colorless vehicle artifact token with crew 1. So it's a 2/4 that also makes a vehicle 3/2. Oh, I'm so sorry. How dare I? Vehicles have flying, and whenever one or more creatures you control with flying deal combat to a player, you draw a card. This card's crazy. It's a mythic in our colors. I am super happy to take it. And, it doesn't look like anything else is too eventful. We're not in the deck for Pactol Terror or Last Ride. Keen Buccaneer, definitely something we'd be okay having, but not over our Mu Yanling. Okay. So we do have a green-blue land, which does give us some sort of fixing, but I don't know if that's any better than Roadside Blowout. It costs 2 less if it targets a permanent value, mana value 1, which doesn't often happen, but it returns a creature or vehicle the opponent controls to their hand, and then you draw a card, which is kind of nice. I do think our deck is pretty strong, and the biggest problem with it is removal, and so I'm going to take the land, hoping that we have the highest ability to play this removal. Okay, there's another Lagak and a Ketradon. I need to decide if I want my third Lagak or my second Ketradon. I think Ketradon's really great at stabilizing board states, and so I think I'm just going to take the second Ketradon. We do already have 2 Lagaks. Samet, a little too far out of our colors. There's a Keen Buccaneer. Oh, a Night Market. Let's see, we have Greenbelt Guardian, Seeker, the 2 Refuelers, Afterburner Expert. We didn't end up with a lot of the cards like these Keen Buccaneers that I guess we've just really been taking them low for our exhaust abilities. I think I'm going to take the fixing. I really want to try to play our red removal, I think. Alright, I'm going to take Dredger's Insight, I think. And we'll go ahead and move on. Alright, black, red land, not helping us. Midnight Mangler is good on the defense. Hellish Sideswipe's a removal spell, but it's too far out of our colors, I think. I'm just going to take this Mangler. It's a good blocker. Okay. Point the Way is a form of fixing. And I don't actually think it's that bad here. Let's try it. This is more for experimentation. I normally wouldn't take it in situations like this. These decks aren't particularly good at getting speed or have lots of ways to start their speed, but we do have these 2 Aether Siphons, and I do think Point the Way, just having a lot of lands in play seems pretty useful for this deck. Skystreak Engineer was exactly what we needed in terms of, late exhaust cards. We'll go ahead and take that. I'm going to take this Camera Launcher. I don't think it's making our deck. I think our deck is too good for that. We'll take another Howler's Heavy. I don't think we're playing this many, though. Cut the Camera Launcher, cut the Aether Jacket. I do want to play our red removal spells. I think I also want to play the Thunderhead Gunner. It's just a pretty strong card. Dredger's Insight I don't think does a whole lot in this deck, and we want to play a lot on 2, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that. I do also think I'm going to consider just treating Point the Way as a land and playing 16. We are playing best of one, so we do have the hand smoother, but Point the Way kind of is a land. And especially with Point the Way, like once we use it to get lands, we don't really want to flood. And so depending how good our mana base is, I'm going to consider just making Point the Way a land. Okay. So maybe I don't. I think our deck has got plenty of ways to churn through without the Thunderhead Gunner. And so I'm going to leave our splash on slightly less colors. I do think this means we can possibly play one less red. I like the bounce off. I don't know how I feel about Gear Seeker Serpent. We do have a pretty high density of artifacts for these colors. I don't think I like the Ooze Patrol. It just doesn't feel like it fits for how much mana it is. And I think I'm going to consider cutting a Howler's Heavy. As much as I love Howler's Heavy, we have a large density of 2-drops, and I don't know how good -3/-0 is going to be as a trick. And so maybe I'll do this and we will play 17 lands. 12, 15, 16, 17. We do have a couple of expensive cards and a lot of mana sinks. I think we'll play 17 lands with this. All right, with that, I will see you guys for game number 1. All right, here we are for game number 1 with our exhaust deck that we built here. I think this hand looks pretty good. Our opponent is going first. We have 3 lands, Skystreak Engineer, Aether Siphon. You know, we got a good curve going. I think this looks pretty good. We have a plan to play Skystreak Engineer onto, you know, barring any changes. We do now have this Greenbelt Guardian. I do find that typically you want to play Skystreak Engineer anyway. It just is a better attacker. You know, you don't really want to play Greenbelt Guardian until you're getting ready to exhaust it. I do think that there's a chance I'm playing the Greenbelt Guardian over our Aether Siphon. You know, the following turn we can exhaust it, which, why are they attacking? Is this maximum overdrive? If they have maximum overdrive, I would rather have them use it now than later. So I'm going to go ahead and block, and, you know, at some point the trick needs to happen. I don't mind losing the 1/3. I don't want to take a bunch of free damage, you know. It does also use their whole turn, which is nice. And I do think next turn I probably just want to exhaust this Greenbelt Guardian. And so I'm going to go ahead and play it so that I have that option next turn. You know, not necessarily that I have to do it. Maybe I'll attack and then cycle my Howler's Heavy or Venom Sack Lagak, but one of the options going into my following turn is that I would like to be able to exhaust this. And so, you know, I'm making my decision thinking kind of a couple turns ahead. All right. They're attacking with their 3/3. No problem. Our 3/2. We'll take it and pass it on to our turn. All right, and I do still like activating this exhaust ability, so I'm going to go ahead and attack, you know, see if they block, then we can use the exhaust ability. There's not a lot of 2 mana that would really punish us here. They could possibly have another maximum overdrive, but, you know, murder is 3 mana. There's just not a whole lot that is super punishing there. Bounce off does set us back, but it's not, you know, the end of the world. And we will be able to bounce their diversion unit next turn, which is nice because it'll get rid of the counter that's on it. All right, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do just that. You know, 4/4 is a pretty good attacker and blocker here. Spectral Interference, all right. They've decided we are not going to get to play spells, which is totally fine. We have tons of things to do going into the following turns. We do need to make sure we don't just like die to this 3/2, but I think we will be able to figure it out. We are taking 6 here. Maybe I am being a little too disrespectful. We do have this Howler's Heavy, you know, as a way to take less damage on one of these turns. I am going to play this Lagak. I'm playing this Lagak specifically because I wanted to be able to block the Gravestalker. And then I think I want to play this Greenbelt Guardian. I want to be able to cycle the Howler's Heavy next turn, I think. Or, actually, I think this Afterburner Expert's a little bit better. It does mean we don't get the cycle of the Howler's Heavy, but we have, you know, pretty nice blocks lined up if we do this. And we can save our Howler's Heavy to keep us alive in the air for a turn. Probably could have thought about this game a little bit more. Okay, they're attacking for 3 in the air. We do need to find an answer for it. Ah, okay, that's terrifying. That's another flyer. All right, Thunderous Velocipede. This card is good, but it is not solving our flying problem. We can live exactly next turn with the Howler's Heavy. The problem is we need to draw more answers than we have access to currently. Well, I think our best bet is, you know, going to be making some big creatures, cycling Howler's Heavy to live, and hoping that we can find a way out of this, but I don't know what way we have out of this. Crew. Okay. This is going to put us to 1. Oh, that's good. Okay, I'm going to bounce off the diversion unit. This will keep us alive a little longer. They do still have the 4-power creature, so we need to be able to answer this next turn. But, you know, we stay alive at a little bit of a higher life total, and now we only have 1 thing to answer, not 2, which is better than the situation we were in before. All right. Because we can answer just the Thopter Fabricator. We can take 2 for a turn. We need to answer it at some point, obviously, but not immediately. Okay, well, a land not helping us. I think our only chance here of finding something is Aether Siphon, draw a card, and even then, I don't really know what our outs are here. I don't remember if we have another 2-mana flyer, but it is our only option of possibly finding a way to win this game. Midnight Mangler. All right, that is not going to do it, and we are dead in the air. So I think the turn that I screwed up is I could have been a little bit more respectful of the counter spell, and the turn that I played Spike Shell Harrier, I could have played 2 spells instead. But I'm not sure. I also could have not attacked with the Greenbelt Guardian and cast a couple spells. All of these things might have been better. I'm not sure. That's okay. We'll bounce back and get it next time. Okay, here we are for our second match. We are on the play. We do have a Lagak, but we don't have any blue lands, and the spell we would really like to cast is double blue. I think, unfortunately, I think we're going to have to mulligan this for something better. This deck kind of just does need to survive, and so I don't really want to keep hands that might just die, because if we survive, our deck is so strong. I would rather mulligan a little bit more aggressively for a stronger hand that's more likely to survive. I do think I'm planning on playing the Ranger's Refueler going into the next turn, specifically because I think I want, that's interesting. Maybe now I want to play Sky Shriek Engineer. I was thinking that maybe I was going to want to exhaust it the next turn to draw a card, but if I play Engineer, the next turn I can play Refueler and Lagak, which is a little bit more mana efficient and puts a little bit more on the board. And then the following turn, you know, presuming I draw a land, then I can just exhaust the Engineer. I think I want to play the Refueler. Turning it into a creature is just like a nice aggressive play. And it also draws us a card, which kind of helps us find our things for the rest. And I kind of just want to establish this Refueler, get it going. Adrenaline Jockey. All right. Don't think we're going to do a lot of casting spells on not our turn. I'm not going to attack for 4. Maybe I'll just establish it and I'll play our cards anyway. I think I like that, actually. Because now I can exhaust the Sky Shriek Engineer and attack in the air next turn. We're still mana efficient, and the Refueler is already set up to draw the card. I like the way we played this. little mole guy. Look at him go. Oh, he looks at us. Hi, buddy. Sorry, I'm getting ready to drink some water. I have not been drinking enough water, and it is much hotter in Las Vegas than it is in New Jersey. Okay, and I think I'm, pretty happy with our plan. We can attack them in the air. It'll draw us a card, and, we are plenty safe on the ground with our army of Legax. And so we'll just start applying pressure in the air and kind of make them find a way to answer it. Now we have Ketradon. We also have this Serpent. Okay, well, it's a little annoying. It has reach. We can activate. I think we want to draw our land, and then if we do that, our opponent doesn't really have great blocks for the Ketradon without. Oh, I guess with the Midnight Mangler they have better blocks. The question is, do we want to play the Serpent and just start attacking unblockable? Or do we want to play a threat and kind of make them figure it out? They really don't get to attack anymore if we play the Ketradon. I guess they already can't. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and make them answer this Gear Seeker Serpent now. Because now we can just attack for 5 every turn. And then if we find an answer to this Thunderhead Gunner, we're in a pretty nice place. Like, we'll only need 1 more attack with our flyer. Discard, then draw. Okay, they got rid of another Mangler. All right. Destroy target vehicle. Sure. That makes me wonder, like, are they going to have an answer for the Serpent? Maybe they're just not prioritizing it. I guess if we attack with the Serpent, we don't really have great blocks. Like, maybe we want to play Ketradon. I guess our Legax are kind of just holding down the fort, though. I think we're fine to just activate our Serpent and start attacking. It means that at some point they need to find an answer for it, and Ketradon will do a pretty good job of stabilizing us, if they don't find an answer for the Serpent. And the Legax they're holding down the fort. This card's so much stronger than it looks. You saw me in the draft a lot of the time being like, oh, what do I really need the Legax? And this is where those, like, little decisions really matter, because now we have these Legax, and, it is impacting our opponent's ability to do just about anything in this game, which is pretty good for us. I'm definitely glad we played red for our removal. I already feel like we're really light on removal, and we've included a couple of additional spells with the colors that we're playing. I did forget about this Adrenaline Jockey growing. I don't know how relevant it is. If we can just find an answer to this Thunderhead Gunner, that'd be pretty nice. All right, another land. My instinct is to just play the Serpent again. It does cost 7 mana this time, but I think that's okay. Because even if it's not the turn it attacks, like, it's still a pretty big blocker. And if we're invalidating all their attacks, I feel pretty good about our position. We're one thing away from either just winning with Gear Seeker Serpent becoming unblockable, or interesting. I don't want to block with our Gear Seeker Serpent. I value the Gear Seeker Serpent, I think, a little too highly. I am going to just go ahead and make blocks. I don't know what tricks they have in these colors, but I don't really want to let them gain speed. Oh, 2 damage to every creature. That would have been a good thing to think about, probably. But I think we're still okay if we you know, just play this Ketradon and let the Ketradon hold down the fort. Our Legax would have died to that anyway. That's so annoying. Ugh, bounce off. All right, Ketradon I think can hold down the fort, so I am going to play it first. And then I think, you know, we don't need any of our other colors, so we'll just make another red. We have plenty of things to do with our mana, and so I would rather play things as lands than cycle and like market, because we're going to want to cast our spells anyway. Okay, exhaust, turning this into a 5/5. It is getting to the point where it looks like it might end up getting bigger than Ketradon, but I don't think we're there quite yet. Okay, Pit Automaton. We have 6/8 mana, which is just enough to play our Pit Automaton and our Gearseeker Serpent. Now we also are going to be able to play Greenbelt Guardian, and when we exhaust it, we can exhaust it twice, which would make it an 8/8 that can get trample, which is pretty big. Can help us kind of clear our opponent's board. A Monument to Endurance, this makes sense with what we've seen so far of their deck. They do need to win before they deck. And they are at 10 cards now. Let's see how many lands they've discarded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's still 7 lands. Unless, I mean, they might be playing 16, but okay. Let's see. I think maybe our strategy is just to deck them. Also, I'm just kind of happy to play this and get our lands. I don't feel the need to attack with the Gearseeker Serpent this turn. Also, this flyer can now start attacking. This one they will need to block at some point if they, you know, are concerned. But it really looks like they just might be, you know, they can only deal three to us like once per turn. And they're going to need to deal with our things too. I guess it does give them the speed to possibly copy something cool with Slick Imitator. But next turn, we'll have this 2/2 Serpent, and it can attack with our other Serpent. Flood the engine. Well, that's kind of annoying. That's fine, I guess. I think we'll still go ahead and activate our Serpent, get some more lands. Still don't have great attacks. And their only way to block our Serpent is with this Thunderhead Gunner. Afterburner Expert, well, that's pretty good. I am going to go ahead and just attack with our 2/2 here. I guess I possibly could have considered attacking with the Greenbelt Guardian too, but it just doesn't feel necessary. We can make our Afterburner Expert really large too. I don't know which one I value higher. Greenbelt Guardian, having it on the board is a little safer if we make our Afterburner Expert bigger and then we choose to give this one trample. So let's go ahead. If they kill something, I'd rather it be the Afterburner Expert, so I'm going to exhaust the Afterburner Expert as the thing I choose to exhaust. All right, is it now an 8/6? And I think I can just make some pretty aggressive attacks. Give them trample. It should clear the board pretty well, I think. You know, I can make this a 8/8. I can give many of our things trample. Chance I should have just attacked with the Ketradon too, but this feels a little safer, leaving it back as a blocker. Okay. Right, double blocking the Afterburner Expert. Okay, so now we're gonna copy an exhaust ability, and then, you know, we don't need any other color, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure it doesn't tap our green mana. We're already down 1 green. And then I'm gonna give this trample, and I'm gonna give this trample, and I think they're maybe dead? I haven't done the math. I know it's the right play. This is 5. Okay, they can give something -3 Mezzo. It's probably going on the Afterburner Expert. Oh, the Serpent. That makes sense. Okay. Okay. Put some to 4. Sure. I am going to play my land. We just do so much with our mana that I think there's no reason to leave it in our hand. I don't think we have a way to discard. We didn't play the Thunderhead Gunner, if I remember correctly. This is an example of where Thunderhead Gunner is really strong. They may need a little bit more than Thunderhead Gunner to save them here, though. Put some of 3 cards. We've got some good attacks that kind of force the Thunderhead Gunner to block. Another one. All right, sure. Burnout Bastronaut. Okay, I think they need to block. They have 11 toughness, and we have 14 power, so they do need to block with everything. I'm going to play the Aether Siphon, and I think I'm going to go ahead and draw my card now. I'm obviously not getting to max speed this turn, and maybe it's something that, you know, impacts this game. But I get to give trample to both of them. And so if they only block with the gunners, they're dead. So I'm going to go ahead, attack with both of my creatures. And they do need to block with all 3 of their creatures, or have like bounce off or something, or they're no longer living. With 1 card in their hand, I feel like it's probably not bounce off, but they would have had to have drawn it since their last turn. All right. We've picked one up, and I will see you guys for our next match. Okay, here we are for game number 3. We are on the play. We have a Midnight Mangler. We have an Aether Siphon. This hand is on the slower side, but of hands that can be a little bit more defensive to get to the late game, Midnight Mangler is, you know, one of the better ones to help us with that, and we're on the play. So I do think I'm going to go ahead and keep it. All right, got an island. Ooh. Well, Sky Serpent Seeker. Definitely a card I'm happy to see. Go ahead and play that. You know, let's us be a little bit more aggressive in our attacks. They don't have a creature yet to possibly block with. I am going to play our Ranger's Refueler that we just drew. You know, hopefully we draw a land. If we don't, you know, it's a little bit unfortunate, but we can exhaust and draw a card if we draw the land, which seems like a nice play pattern. One that I like a fair bit. They attack with 2. We're just going to take it. All right, land. Aw, unfortunate. That's okay. Now we can block and cycle our Howler's Heavy, which I think I'm okay with that being the... Or I guess I could attack and cycle with it now. I don't think they'll block. I'm just going to pass. Theoretically, I would like to try to get the land drop that turn so that we don't miss it. But I value the ability to cycle this Howler's Heavy a little bit higher than I value playing the land that turn. Okay, we'll block. We just get to kill one of their cards as a result of the way we played this. And as long as we draw a land, you know, soonish. All right, there's our land. Great news. We'll go ahead and attack this time. You know, we're probably activating if they block. This is great for us. I guess they might have bounce off, but we do get to draw a card, which is nice. Oh no, they're just taking it. Thunderous Velocipede. That's a good one. You can play Thunderous Velocipede, and then, you know, maybe one of our... We do only have 2 green. Maybe our Midnight Mangler or something with it to get value. Possession Engine. All right, well, that's okay, I guess. Not big enough for it to crew. We did draw land. I do think I want to play the Thunderous Velocipede this turn. Spike Shell Harrier is going to be returning our Sky Serpent to our hand, which is nice. Oh, maybe I want to do it this turn. I think I like that better next turn when we already have this Velocipede. I just want to get as much value out of this Velocipede as we can. I'm deciding now whether I want to exhaust to draw the card, or I think I'm going to play our Point the Way, just get it out this turn, and play our Midnight Mangler. Gives us a good blocker. And then next turn we can Spikeshell Harrier and Serpent, which is nice. We get a 7/7 and a 2/2. Take back our thing. Okay, 3/4 flying, sure. So this is one of the reasons I thought Point the Way might be okay in this deck. It's just, you know, at some point when we have mana, we can crack it, and then we have, you know, extra lands to do a bunch of things. Our deck is just so mana hungry. There's so much we can do with all of our mana. They're thinking about it, thinking. It's so cool that we can take back our card that they took with the Possession Engine. So now I'm going to pause to think for a second. While I think that's pretty much what we're doing, I am going to spend some time thinking if it's better if I brought something else back to their hand. Like, you know, maybe bringing back this Memory Guardian would be worth it. I really don't think there is something that makes this not feel good. But I am going to stop and pause because I want to make sure that I'm thinking, you know, slow enough. Playing that fast and being like, oh, well, I'm just sure there's nothing better is one of the ways that we make mistakes. I'm going to play our land, and then I'm deciding if I want to attack for 4. They can crew their Possession Engine, and so I don't get any good attacks, and I don't want to attack with the Velocipede because, you know, there's nothing under this Possession Engine, and Velocipede's doing a lot of work for us. So we'll just pass it back over. Our Ketrodon next turn can come in as a 9/9. Absolutely massive. Packdoll Terror, okay. All right, we'll take a point of damage. Ketron is also something that can block the Guardian other than Serpent if we want to activate our Exhaust ability again. Activating the Exhaust ability next turn is nice because it not only draws us a card, but it does also give us lots of mana to work with on following turns. I wonder, we have 4, 7, 8, 9. There's 8 lands left in our deck. I think I still want to play the Ketrodon. 4, 7, 8. The unfortunate thing about the Ketrodon is we can't play anything else. I really just want to be a little bit more mana efficient than that. Maybe I'll play Aether Siphon, land. We're definitely playing our land. And then we can exhaust, which is kind of nice. Play the Aether Siphon. I guess there's nothing wrong with attacking for 7 before we make decisions. I probably should have done this first. I can also make the Refueler a creature, if that's something I want to do. All right, looks like they're just going to take a chump block. No problem. Gets rid of a creature on the board, which is nice. If I activate the Refueler now, or the Serpent now, and I draw... Oh, no, I already played my land. Oh, I think that's what I should have done. I think I should have activated this first, because then if I drew a land, I could have also drawn a card with Aether Siphon. And that would have been pretty mana efficient, but that's okay. Now we'll just wait. 4, 8, 9. So next turn we'll have 10, 11 lands. Compactor, okay. Nimble Thopterist, sure. Does give them a way to, you know, kill some things. I think I'm gonna put the Ketrodon in. Maybe they'll choose to kill that instead of the Velocipede or something. Okay. Go to attacks. I am gonna go ahead and activate the Seeker. We'll draw a card off our Ranger's Refueler. Just make sure we have plenty of cards in our deck. 22. we drew a land, got some lands, and we'll take our turn. Okay. I think I want to start by drawing a card. Just really, you know, gauging what all our options are. 7, 8, 9. Play our 10th land. Let's play this Ketradon. Get it out there. And I do think I'm happy for the Spikeshell Harrier to just, you know, clean up the board a little. So I'm going to continue attacking with the Spikeshell Harrier. And then my intent this turn is going to be to play our land, and then I believe animate our Refueler. I just don't really want to get only one land from Point the Way. It feels better to draw cards than to, you know, get one land. Haunt the Network. Oh, it's going to hurt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a lot. Ouch. Does mean they don't have enough mana to crack the Scrap Compactor this turn. I want to make sure I don't die to like their large quantity of flyers. Finding an answer to this Pact Altair might be nice. Activate the Ranger's Refueler. Okay, another Aether Siphon. Lots of cards. Another land. 5, 12, 13, 14. Okay, well, there's not very many left. Oh, it's giving me the option to crew it. Well, let's start by drawing a card. Seeing if we draw something more exciting than what we have currently. Do you think I'm still happy to attack for 7? Oh, Afterburner Expert. This is more exciting for sure. We'll play our land, play our Afterburner Expert, and then I think we're going to just want to exhaust it. I am going to go ahead and play our Pit Automaton. We have 6 lands left. I do think I would rather exhaust the Afterburner Expert than play the other copy of Aether Siphon. Think about what attacks I might want to make. Like maybe we want to attack with this Midnight Mangler. There's not much we have to crew, but I'd rather attack with the Midnight Mangler than the Refueler. Just kind of start making progress towards killing them. I think I'm going to do that. I want to keep our Refueler, so I'm going to crew with that, and then I'm going to attack with the Spikeshell Harrier and the Midnight Mangler. Just, you know, try to keep them blocking. They do have basically infinite health. Oh, they can activate. Ooh, I missed the Possession Engine. It appears they did not crew it in time. So this is great for us. This doesn't punish us very much. You know, we don't gain any speed, but it clears their board of flyers, which is nice because there may come a point where, you know, we're at such a low life total that they can just force damage through with 1/1s. Playing their own Midnight Mangler. It is draining us for 1. I would really like to find an answer to this Pact Altair. We are drawing quite a few cards. All right, pass to attackers. See if they want to attack. All right, go ahead and exhaust our Afterburner Expert. Draw a card. Ooh, Green Bulk Guardian's great. That is a great card for us to have here. Ooh, Gearseeker Serpent, nice and cheap. Okay, so I'm just gonna start playing cards. I think we're in a pretty good position with lots of lands. I'm gonna play that Green Bulk Guardian, and then I'm gonna go ahead and make some attacks. I don't think I want to just give up something for the Possession Engine in case they noticed that. So, other than the Afterburner Expert, which will just come back. So I think I'm going to attack with the Expert, the Harrier. I don't think I want to attack with our things that block flyers. I just don't really want to risk them getting 1 removal spell and pushing damage. I think we're in a place where, you know, it's going to be difficult for us to lose from here as long as they don't kill us. And so I'm just going to keep them blocking, you know, try to push as much damage as I can. I have 7, 10 lands remaining. So if I play Aether Siphon, that puts me to 7, which means I can still copy Greenbelt Guardian if I give one thing trample. So I think I'm happy with that. I'll give just the Harrier trample. They're still thinking about their life. 4, 7, just make sure I didn't miscount. 10, 3 is 7. Copying Greenbelt Guardian is 6. So we'd have 1 more mana additional, which I can use to give something trample. Okay, well, I think I don't have anything better to do with that 1 mana, so I'm going to go ahead and just give it trample. And then I am specifically going to wait on the activating the Greenbelt Guardian because of the Scrap Compactor. We did say we were going to play this Aether Siphon though. 12. We do need to make sure we kill them before we deck. And by them, like, getting rid of our thing that gives trample, it might be a little difficult, but we do have this thing that makes things can't be blocked. So they do need to find quite a bit here to get out of this fickle. Now it's just us making sure that we're ensuring that we can't lose the game, which is definitely important. Oh, back on track. Well, that's a good one. Oh, on Possession Engine. Okay, so they're taking the Ketradon, which is fine. Sure. That's okay. We can still do all our shenanigans. You know, the Ketradon can't block, so now they also have kind of made it so they can't really block with their Possession Engine. Or, you know, they give us our Ketradon back. This definitely could have been worse. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead, copy our next exhaust ability. Activate the Greenbelt Guardian, which will give us back our Afterburner Expert, copy it. Get to draw a card, make a giant creature, pass it back to us. We still have lands. This is all lands in our deck. 11, 12, 13, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there's 1 more remaining in our 10-card deck. Sure. I'm now concerned about the possibility of decking. So I think Ranger's Refueler will be allowed to attack this turn. Just deciding what I want to attack with. It's a kind of hard question. We're going to make our Gearseeker Serpent unblockable. I don't think I want to attack with the Greenbelt Guardian, and I think I'm okay to draw some cards, and I can make my Afterburner Expert pretty massive. So I think I'm going to attack with a lot of things. The Gearseeker Serpent, the Afterburner Expert, the Harrier, and then I think the Refueler, just because I kind of do want the Refueler to die. It gives us a little less concerns on decking while we're using all our cool exhaust abilities. Okay, they're accruing the Possession Engine. Oh, I guess that can block the Refueler for free. That's fine. We want the Refueler dead. We don't want to deck. We're going to draw 1 more card. Okay. I do need to make sure that I tap correctly and I leave up 2 green to give things trample. Because this is going to get 4 counters. 9, it'll trample over for 6. Puts them to 19. This puts them to 11. I feel pretty confident that we're going to be able to find a way to kill them next turn. Presuming we left up enough blockers. I guess it's a little concerning. If we tap out of this, does that make the crackback attack more scary? I think it's okay. Maybe we shouldn't have done this. But, oh, did it tap our green? That's unfortunate. That's okay. I think we only have 1 thing to trample over anyway. Oh, Lagak, that's a great draw. I do think now I'm not giving it trample. Just because I want to be able to cast our Venom Sac Lagak to have another blocker. The Lagak definitely makes it too that they don't want to attack with their possession engine, because we'll get our Ketcharon back, which is huge. So I think I have not done the math, but we have 3, 4 blockers. I think we should be okay from here. They can kill our flyer, attack for 4, which is a little scary in the air. But I think we can kill them on the crackback as long as they don't draw, like, you know, several ways to... They can deal 2 damage with Pactile Terror. I guess any creature that made 2, or I guess there's no... Nibblethopterus only would ping once. They are crewing. They're just going to attack with everything. We have 3 blockers. Lagak. There's only 3 things on the ground attacking, right? I think so. So this will block here. Block like this. None of the things have trample. This has us taking 4. We'll get back our Ketcharon, and then they should die on the crackback unless they have a way to deal 2 additional points of damage. And I'm fairly certain Haunt the Network killed us if they just cast it, so I think they would have done that instead of attacking. I think we've got it. I'm hesitant to ever say, but I don't think there's anything I'm forgetting about here. Verge is pretty. Do. Maybe they realize they're dead and now they're just roping us. That's something that's taken me a lot of time to get used to on Arena. Is the amount of people that just, choose to rope you or close the app or do whatever. I don't know much to update you guys on. Normally I would update you at this point on like things going on in my life. Oh, maximum overdrive. Okay, this puts us to 1. But that's not quite enough. I guess they were hoping we didn't block something. But now we definitely have them. Just gonna go ahead and hiya. That was a good game. Good game, opponent. All right, I will see you guys for our next match. Okay, here we are for game number 4. We've got a kind of weird hand. It's 2 forests, a Venom Sac Lagak, Afterburner Expert, Pit Automaton, and some cards that are a little difficult to cast. I think my instinct is to keep this. Lagak, gets us pretty far, and we have the Pit Automaton that we can also play on 2 mana, and then it helps us pay for our Afterburner Expert. So I think I'm going to keep this. I think we'll be able to push through to more lands and better ventures with this hand. All right, we'll go ahead and play our Lagak. I guess it would have been better to play Pit Automaton first, because if we draw the land, we might want to play Afterburner Expert. All right, well, we did draw a land. And I do think we're playing Afterburner Expert, but we have slightly different plans for next turn now. I do want to leave the Lagak back to block. I don't want to block with my Afterburner Expert, I don't think. Pothole Mole. All right. Milled an Ooze Patrol and a Broken Wings. Got back a Forest. All right, we did draw another land. It's nice for us. Play the Pit Automaton. Play the Refueler. Now Pit Automaton is going to help us pay for a bunch of things, which is nice, and we'll be able to draw cards and things. So I feel pretty good about this keep, but we did draw lands. I've kept a lot of 2-land hands that I felt pretty good about that had 2 colors where we just didn't draw land for like 8 turns. So, don't want to use too small of a sample size. So I could crew the Refueler here and just block with it, but I think they have something. I'm going to block with the Lagak. I think I don't want to lose Pit Automaton, and this will force a trick if they have one and they want to save their creature. Ooze Patrol, sure. Okay, so maybe they just want to make their Ooze Patrol bigger. That's fine. It's a 6/6. Big ooze. Okay, to draw land, it's nice. We can now play our Aether Siphon. And I think I will do just that. I think I will play our Aether Siphon, and then I'm activating one of our things. I would prefer for it to be Afterburner Expert blocking and dying, and then activating Refueler to bring it back. So I'm going to stay this way because it gives me a way to block. All right, I'm going to block with our Afterburner Expert. You know, maybe they have a trick that, you know, we thought they might have had before, but I feel like they might have played it if they did, you know? So I'm going to go ahead, just do it. We get to draw a card anyway. Silken Strength, so they did have a trick. All right. Does mean our Afterburner Expert is no longer for this world, but I think that's okay. We can get it back with our Ranger's Refueler's ability. Okay, we are now going to have access to red mana for Crash and Burn, which is good. I'm a little nervous about this Ooze Patrol getting a little out of control. Afterburner Expert does come back untapped, so I think I'm going to go ahead and play our land on red. I'm just doing math. We have 5, 6, 7 mana technically. Which does not give us enough to play the Mu Yanling. So I think we're just passing with the intent of activating the Refueler, getting back the Afterburner Expert so that it can be used in future endeavors. Hopefully they attack with the Gravestalker. They did. Nice. Okay, so we'll exhaust our Ranger's Refueler, which will bring back our handy-dandy Afterburner Expert. Then we'll go to blocks, and I think I just want to block the Gravestalker. I don't really want to double block right now. This is Silken and Strength too. I'm just getting wrecked by Silken Strength here. Just blocking all these creatures is going to be really difficult. They're all really big. That's one of the strengths of black-green, is just all the creatures are very large. There's another 5/4. How are we going to block all these creatures? I guess we can draw a card. Okay, well this is good. Gearseeker Serpent does just block. We have 4, 5, 6, 7 mana that we can use to cast spells. It's a little unfortunate because it means we can't cast both our Gearseeker Serpent and our Crash and Burn. And I think I want to Crash and Burn this one. I guess I'll block this one. So the only other card we can play is this Skystreak Engineer. Take 7 again. Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be it. I don't want... Guess there's no rush to do it now. We'll pass. They do have the mana for another Silken Strength, if that was going to be their strategy. Right, so they're going to pass their attackers. Not attacking with the 5/4. They don't want it to die. So let's go ahead and attempt to kill the Gravestalker. This way, you know, if they activate Silken Strength, we can still block it. It did die. I think we're okay taking 7. Question is if we want to chump block. But I think next turn we want to do some big blocks. And this is another thing we can exhaust to bring back our Afterburner Expert yet again. So we'll take 7. A little scary, but they only have 1 card. Catcher-Dawn. Well, that's a good card. It's going to take a fair bit for us to stabilize here, but I think we can figure it out. We're going to draw a card. All right, that's good. Midnight Mangler also is going to make our Serpent cost less. So Midnight Mangler plus Serpent is going to be 5 mana. That leaves us 3 additional, which means with Pit Automaton we can level up our Skystreak Engineer, which also brings back our Mangler. And so, or our Afterburner Expert, which gives us pretty good blocks. We don't have enough blue. Should have spent a little bit more time thinking about that, huh? So we can no longer activate our Afterburner Expert. We are going to have the Mangler as a 3/3. I think, unfortunately, we don't have a way to... Or did I? Oh, yeah, we tapped the Mangler for the blue. I think it's okay. We have ways to double block. Back on track. Another Ooze Patrol? Oh, this one's going to be massive. How big is it? Hatchinak. Oh, this person's deck's really good. Okay, well, we're here. Deciding what attacks they want to make. Yeah, we do get pretty decent blocks. So I don't blame them for not making the attacks right away. Okay, they are attacking. Not with the 5/4. All right. So to kill the 7/8, we need at least 8 toughness, which we can do with Refueler, Skyshriek, Engineer, Mangler. And then they only get to kill 2 things. But I do kind of also want to kill the Ketradon. Are we just like 1 short of being able to do that? Okay. So this is 8. Do we need the Pit Automaton? Or can we use that to chump? I think we can chump with the Pit Automaton. I'm not certain about this. I didn't really have enough time to fully think it through. Alright, let's draw a card. Hopefully we can find something to get us out of this mess. The land is not it. Outpace Oblivion, that's a good one. It does only deal 5, so it can't kill a Ketradon. We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. So we can both play this and activate this, which does also get back the Afterburner Expert. And then we could double block this and this. I think that is the move. So we're going to go ahead, kill the Gravestalker. And then I am going to pass from there. We can activate this, get back our Afterburner Expert. The 2/4 powers can block the 8/8, and then the 2/3 powers can block the Ketradon. Only one of those dies. Wreckage Wickerfolk. Okay. Thankfully, Mu Yanling does make flying vehicles. It's also a question of if they're going to make these attacks. They are decently aggressive, and they do have, you know, something that helps them find permanence. Okay, they are making them. Let's go ahead, activate our ability. Getting back our Afterburner Expert, drawing a card. Okay, and then we will make our blocks in ways that I think make mathematical sense. They'll kill our Engineer, and then these all trade. Doesn't mean we don't have a flyer, but I think that's okay. Also, our Mu Yanling vehicles do fly. Okay, we do need to draw a card. All right, well, we drew a lot of lands. Play our Mu Yanling. That's interesting. We can attack with our Mangler. And if it connects, we draw a card. Is that worth it? I think so. I think we need to try to make like slightly bigger plays to stabilize, or we give them the opportunity to kind of push through those last couple points of damage, and I just don't want to give them that chance. Ooh, Howler's Heavy. Is it better to play this as a 3/4? Oh yeah, because we didn't save a way to crew this. Oops, I don't think this was right. But we did not get punished for it, so good for us. All right, they're activating their Beast Rider Vanguard, also good for us. Deathless Pilot, not very scary. Land Deathless Pilot, okay. This is good. We're in a good place. We got to build our board a little bit because of our error. If we drew a land, we would have been really screwed, but it is pretty statistically unlikely that this is confusing. Maybe they just don't realize our vehicle flies? This feels like it might just be a mistake. There's nothing that, no non-public knowledge. Okay. Oops, yeah, that's what I thought. All right, now they have no flyers. We have another Aether Siphon. Do think, yeah, let's go ahead and draw our card with the Aether Siphon first. Ketradon, exactly the stabilization tool we needed. Perfectly happy with it. We'll play our other Aether Siphon. And then I do think I'm going to crew something that flies and attack with it. Not to draw the card, but because I want to get to max speed. I think there's a good chance that from max speed, we just mill our opponent. We have 2 Aether Siphons, so they're milling for 4 every time we draw. And that feels like it will be enough to win the game before we deck. These games are going incredibly long. It's going to be a long video. All right, Beast Rider Vanguard getting activated. We do now also have our Spike Shell Harrier to remove any flyer they play, or reach creature like this Hazard of the Dunes, to make sure that we get to max speed. And then once we get to max speed, we're cooking. Right. My turn. Going to go ahead and do what we just discussed. Bounce the Hazard of the Dunes. Crew a flying vehicle. And then I'm pretty confident they can't kill us with damage, so I'm just going to kill them through mill. Deal this point of damage. This will draw us a card, and then they're milling 4 for every card we draw, so they'll definitely be the one to mill out first. Oh, we hit the max speed first? Oh, it does damage, and then we draw the card. Oh yeah, they're 6 cards. They are dead before they can draw. Draw a card. Mill them for 4. Draw a card. And mill them the rest of their deck. Good game, opponent. I love the explosion from no deck. It feels good. All right, I will see you guys for our next match.